Welcome everybody to the Tea with Ms McGill Show. It is Puka, once again joined by Reed Larson. We have a real special guest here we're going to get to in just a second, but just a couple of housekeeping items. So this is the Tea with Ms McGill Show, fueled by Blue Line Brews. That's our newest partners here, Blue Line Brews, bluelinebrews.com, or just go ahead and go down. You can scroll down and click them right in the show notes there. So not only do they have tasty coffee, but they support our local law enforcement and actually law enforcement all across the country. 10% of their profits go back to families that have a fallen officer that have come from their family. So go to the website, check out their tasty coffee. Like I said, they support a really good cause here when officers are fallen, and they take care of those families. All right, just a couple more housekeeping items. If you have been on our podcast feed, we are now also on YouTube and Facebook. So don't look for Tea with Ms McGill when you go there. Look for Goat Sports. So it's Goat Sports on Facebook, Goat Sports on YouTube. Again, if you just scroll down, we'll have the links there. Now, if you found us through YouTube or through Facebook and you want to hear what Reed and I have been up to for about the last 7-8 months, go to your favorite place that you podcast, search the Tea with Ms McGill Show there, and you'll get all of our episodes. I guess we started in January, because the high school hockey season didn't start till January this year. So you can go back and listen to everything we've been doing. So once again, thank you to Blue Line Brews. And we're going to get into our very special guest, as you can see here. He's the best looking one of the three of us by far. Drew Leblanc, originally a Hermantown guy, played high school hockey in Minnesota, played his NCAA college hockey in Minnesota, some time in the NHL, some time in the AHL, and has been playing over in Germany for the last, how many years has it been, Drew? About 5?
Oh, I think this is going to be your 7, believe it or not.
Holy mackerel. So time flies. So we'll go ahead and banter with him a little bit, and you can talk a little bit about his experiences. So thanks for taking some time, man. Welcome.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
And you already have to go back to Germany next week, you're saying?
That's right. Back to work. Finally, I get to go back to work.
How long have you been off?
Enough of this 85 and sunny every day. I need to go back to work. I think we got home middle to end of April, I believe.
Okay. So you've been training hard?
I have been right out in the garage here. Actually been training with a name you might know, the Goats family there. Eric Goats, he comes, we work out in the garage, and also Iron Ice alum Phil Blue, he just started getting back into the workout routine. So he's been coming out to the garage and working out a little bit. We kind of took it hard on him the last week or two, but he keeps coming back for more.
Yeah, because he played. When did he finish his season? He was going into late June, I believe.
Yeah, I think he said when he came last week that it was his 3rd week of being done.
Okay. Wow. So we're talking about Phil Blue. He's a former Duluth East player, former Northern Michigan player, and now he's with the Wilds. Was he with the Wilds East Coast team?
He was with the Wilds. I think he said he played 1 weekend in Iowa. They got beat like 10-1 or something, and then he went back down. He was in Allen for most of the season. I don't know with how the affiliates shook out this year if they shared with somebody or not, but I think usually it would be the Wilds farm team, yeah. Okay. Or the Iowa Wilds East Coast team, or however you want to spin it.
Yeah, AA basically. So, okay. All right, well, let's get into it here and talk a little bit more about you. You want to start out with some high school stuff?
Yeah, so, the viewers that tend to watch the Tea with Ms McGill, we get a lot of high school kids, we get high school parents, just from the area. We decided to start this show here. I don't know, we talked about it last fall, kind of going into the hockey season, and then we're delayed because of COVID, had some time to plan. But what we really focused on was area high school hockey. We had lots of good conversations about, Iron Range teams, Duluth area teams, talked a lot about Hermantown, talked a lot about Grand Rapids, Virginia, all the range teams. And so a lot of people have interest in area hockey. And I just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit about, some of the things that you took away from some of those magical years that you played in Hermantown back in the mid-2000s there, 2006, 7, 8. I know that there was a magical run in 2007 where you guys hung a banner there, one of 3, I think, that hang in the Hermantown Ice Center there.
I can't believe it's only 3
in Hermantown. What's that?
I said, I can't believe it's only been 3 banners that they've hung there. I know
Well,
my brother.
3 championship banners, right?
Right. Well, they
4 or
hang
5
a lot of other ones too, but yeah, only 3 state championship ones there.
4 or 5, maybe 6 second places, I think they had there in a row. But I guess my question for you, Drew, is talk about that tradition. It really is. It's envied, and that is the biggest compliment that anybody can ever say when they talk about the Hermantown program. Everybody talks about, oh, Hermantown this, Hermantown that, and that is an envy that everybody is jealous of the tradition that Hermantown has built over these past couple decades of great hockey. Talk about that tradition in Hermantown.
For us, I think, we were kind of maybe that original wave that kind of started the whole thing there. Like we had a good, going way back to 98 when my dad was coaching, they took second, but we were the first team there to go through and hang a banner. And, I think in Hermantown, a lot of it is just about that outdoor rink rat culture. These kids, I know that we were on the ice a ton, and these kids now are on the ice a ton. Dave Huddle, the rink manager, has done a great job of keeping those kids on the ice and getting them ice when there's dead hours. And, they're on the ice a lot, and they got a good thing going. And, it's inside, it's outside. We played our youth hockey on the outdoor rinks. I'm not sure, exactly what they're up to now. And I think it's just kind of that culture of tradition. We have taken a lot of pride in kind of building it the way we have. And I know a lot of people out there will be like, well, they're recruiting all the time. But honestly, I'm pretty sure that these kids are coming to Hermantown on their own free will because they want to kind of be a part of what's going on. And I actually skate at 6 a.m.s on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. The high school kids are on at 7:15 with Pat Andrews runs his camp. And so I know that they're working hard. They're getting on the ice a couple times a week, probably even more than that, really. And they got a good thing going, and they got a strength coach, and they get their lift done right after they skate. And, just trying to keep building and hopefully hang a few more banners here in the next couple of years.
Well, I think I can speak for a lot of people in the area. I coached the Grand Rapids Bantam AA team last year, and we had to run into Hermantown a couple times last year, and it's not by any stretch of the imagination is Hermantown falling off the map. They are not. They were probably one of the top best teams that we saw all year long. They've got quite a few more years in a row of being a juggernaut through youth hockey. And I think the formula, I think, is the perfect formula. There's an argument, and people can continue to argue this all they want, that if you play AA youth hockey, then you should play AA high school hockey. But that's not the way it works. If you play AA high school hockey, you have to play AA youth hockey. But at youth hockey, you can play up if you want to. And I think that's the formula that makes things so successful as far as being prepared talent-wise getting into the high school level. If they are playing a single A schedule at the high school, they're prepared because they've been playing AA teams all the way through youth hockey. And just going back to one of your comments, Drew, that people might say that, oh, yeah, they recruit. I agree with you. I don't think they recruit. When you build it, they come. And it's just the old field of dreams. If you build it, they're going to come. Well, I'll tell you what, people want to be a part of it. I don't think anybody has to make a phone call and pick up the phone to call somebody to move to Hermantown. I think people are looking to come to Hermantown because they want to win. And that's just the way it works. When you win, when things are successful, that's what happens. It's just
yeah. And it's been like I said, it's been a good hockey community. The community itself is growing a lot here. I see a lot of new developments going up and houses being built, but it's only so big, and we're going to reach our max here as far as capacity can go. And trust me, there's that argument all the time, us hockey or Hermantown alums, we always say, well, should they play AA? Shouldn't they? Ultimately the coaching staff has to make the decision and do what they think is right for the program. And, I know my brother's he's coaching the Pewee AA's now, and they went to state too, at the Pewee level. So, it seems like there's good things happening, and it's just nice to be able to see these kids work and see them get better and see where they go.
Well, and the good news for those people that are involved in making decisions of whether they choose to go or they don't go, it definitely goes higher than the decision of whether Coach Andrews wants to. Obviously, if he wants to, he makes the recommendation, but it comes down to the school district and the activities office making a decision too. So it doesn't just come down. I feel like it's an unfair argument for people to throw at Coach Andrews or even to throw at Coach Plant years ago, or to pick on the kids about, because they have absolutely nothing to do with it. Coach Andrews now can make a recommendation, but the school district have to approve that stuff of moving up, and the activities department has to be behind it. There has to be support. And quite honestly, if you move up, you want to be able to sustain staying up. And they're waiting until that time comes where it feels like we're going to be able to stay at this level for as long as we continue. And I have got the utmost respect for, I guess, going into my next question, for the coaches that coach there. Pat Andrews is a good friend. I've got the utmost respect for Bruce Plant. What was it like to play for Bruce Plant?
He was a really likable guy. The one thing that we always said about Coach Plant there is, everyone always played hard for him. You can't say that anyone ever took a shift off. He got everyone to work hard and believe in what he was doing. And, we always had pretty good players to kind of help him out along the way. And I think everything that you have seen reflects that. I think, at Hermantown, there's a saying on the wall there. I got to remember what it says now. White collar talent, but blue collar mentality, or something along that lines. And, that's kind of the way that they've approached it now. And I think, Bruce did a great job. He was there for a long time. He developed a lot of hockey players, and it was time for him to pass the torch on and time for Pat to take over. And I don't think the program has missed a beat.
No, it hasn't. And I think Pat is the absolute perfect candidate to have taken that position over. And it's just a matter of time before they hang another banner up there that says championship. Like you said, there's a million banners that hang in that building, but the ones I talk about that are the most important are the state championship banners that hang in the middle. There's a lot of youth ones. There's a lot of second places, this, that, and the other deal. But there's those 3 state championship banners that hang there that it's the same that you see when you see those Hermantown Hawks wearing their jerseys at every game. They've got the 3 stars on the back of their jersey that signifies each of the championships that they've won. Was it an undefeated year in 2007? Did you guys win undefeated?
Yeah, I think we went 29-0-2. We definitely got through a couple of those by the skin of our teeth there. We played some good games. Actually, probably Hibbing was our, one of our best games. And it was funny because, at that time, when I was coming up, every team on the Iron Range in Duluth, they all had a couple Division I guys on it. You had Nico Sacchetti and Scotty Kishel in Virginia. You had Anthony and Louise. Jammer. And, it feels like even Hibbing had a couple more guys than that. Grand Rapids had a few. Even I Falls, Brady Jelly, you had the goalie backstop and everything. And you had Jake Uso up there too. And, there was you never really went into a game and it was like, oh, all right, we're going to win 10-1 tonight. It was always every section game was tough. And it was what I think is probably the best years of hockey in Northern Minnesota. Just kidding. But, it was a fun time, and you grew up playing all those guys and playing with them youth hockey and on select teams and all the way up. And it was always fun to play them and see what happened.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, so let's transition. And we talked a little bit about your high school career. So then you moved on to the Chicago Steel for a year, correct?
Yep. I played my senior year of high school in Chicago. Didn't make a ton of friends by doing that, but me and my dad went round and around about it, and they said, or I was even just, he said, for developmental purposes, I think it's better you go. And so we did. I did my senior year down in Chicago there, and that allowed me to go into St. Cloud as kind of a true freshman. And I had a great experience down there. I still keep in touch with my billet family. My brother Brian actually lived with our billet family down there when he played in Chicago. So, it ended up being a great experience for me, and I don't really look back or think about it or regret it too much. Honestly, the parts I miss most about high school in Hermantown was probably playing high school football and high school baseball. And, Friday nights under the lights was always pretty fun too. And, those are probably the things that I miss most about that year.
So did you do that because you were already being heavily recruited by St. Cloud or maybe others at that time?
No, not really. I guess I just wanted to keep continually to get better and keep getting better and better and, play against that higher level competition and kind of see where you stacked up. And, I went down there after my junior season ended and played a few games then, and kind of bit of a eye-opening experience, coming from northern Minnesota, and all of a sudden you get thrown in this pool with best players all over from every state, so it's kind of eye-opening for me, and I learned a lot right down there, and it kind of got the ball rolling for me as far as trying to figure out what it takes and the hard work that needs to be done off the ice. So, like I said, I can't look back and regret it too much. It's done, it's over. And, I had a great experience and a good junior experience. So nothing but good things.
All right. So then you took the march over to St. Cloud, and how did that all start for you? Did you get in the lineup? I mean, I didn't really know who you were then, so I don't know your early years in St. Cloud. I know a little bit more about your later years through your dad.
Oh yeah. I played every game as a freshman, every game as a sophomore, every game as a junior, and then I got hurt obviously my senior season and came back. And no, I definitely first year of college was another one of those, holy cow, okay, this is a little bit different. You're starting to play against grown men at that age, and I was 18 or 19 years old and playing against 23, 24-year-olds, 25 even. So once again, it just kind of went back to, okay, got to go back to the grindstone, get back to work. And, I spent a bunch of summers training at Minnesota hockey camps there in Brainerd with Dean Grillo and his dad. And I think those really helped me get up to speed, I guess, because the knock on me was always like, could shoot or not really shoot, but could pass, make plays, protect the puck, but couldn't skate. So it was, for me, I had that chip on my shoulder that I had to become a better skater. And, through strength and technique and just being on the ice a ton, I think I kept getting better and better. And, I guess I'm still playing, if that means anything. So, I've, nothing but good memories, a lot of good memories.
Well, you definitely put a capital C on the word commitment. The way it sounds. Like I said, we have a lot of young people that are listening. So if there's one thing I can stress to you young kids right there, here's a guy that's really committed. He's talking about it right now. Who were some of your your early mentors there when you got to St. Cloud? Was there anyone that kind of helped you along the way?
You know what? Probably the most influential guy I had at St. Cloud, and actually was lucky enough to have him as a coach my super senior season at St. Cloud. There was Garrett Raboyne. He was a great captain. He kept everybody involved. He was a good student and a great coach. And so him and Bob Motzko, they've obviously teamed up. They went to Minnesota now. And I think, is Ben Gordon there too? Gordo?
Yeah, Gordo's there.
Little International Falls name there. But yeah, so Garrett Boyne for me, he was just, he was a ultimate leader, a true professional. And I think I learned a lot from him along the way.
Okay. So yeah, talk about the injury, because I don't know if a lot of people know about the injury. I think, well, you just get into it. Yeah, I mean, there was obviously a severe injury.
Yeah, I was just one of those kind of freak accidents, maybe you could call it, or, I was just racing for a puck and had some back pressure, and somehow I lost my footing or got pushed on the back of my pants or whatever, went full speed into the boards feet first and broke my leg in two. And at that point, it felt like the end of the world. And I knew, I know Coach Motzko, he always felt bad because I was going to sign and leave after my junior year. And he convinced me to come back. And I ended up getting hurt 12 games in. Was lucky enough to get a red shirt that year. And it was a long year of rehabbing and, trying to build back strength and get your explosiveness back. And I think I couldn't even skate, I don't think, for 4 or 5 months. And honestly, I believe it took me maybe even not even the next season, but the following season to really get everything back as far as explosiveness and strength went. But yeah, so it's just rehab, and try to come back. And it ended up actually being a blessing in disguise. We had the magical run there in 2013 when we went to the Frozen Four, and for the first time in program history. And I think we were the final regular season champions of the WCHA before it dismantled and split up there and became the NCHC and whatnot. And so, yeah, it ended up actually being a blessing in disguise.
So was that the infamous year of the hair?
Oh, that's what everyone remembers. The
Yeah,
Goldilocks.
a lot of hair on that team that year. Yeah, a lot of
I
hair.
remember seeing Hanno's hair, and it was I coached against Hanowski when he was in Little Falls and I was in Wilmer, and I just remember seeing him at that year with just the locks. He looked like, well, this is an old school name. You probably know he looked like Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam.
You all did.
Yeah, we had a couple pretty bad mops on that team. Yeah.
So what was the shampoo bill that winter?
I don't even know. They bought it by the 2-gallon jug or whatever.
Straight to Costco.
Yeah.
That's good. I gotta just backpedal here for a second because you mentioned your times of training to better your game and become better. And my brother Craig knows you from Minnesota hockey camps from back in the day.
He's running it now, correct?
Yep, and Craig and Chris Stewart and Tony Massieri all own the camp together. Chris Stewart owns it. My brother's part in that, and Tony Massieri's in that as well. But I didn't have to give my brother a shout out today with Minnesota hockey camps. They got that going on right now. They've moved it to Breezy Point. Obviously, the Gorillas had to sell and get out of that, and it's been a change. But you were the one who threw that out there today, so I was hoping that had happened. And talk about your days there at Minnesota hockey camps and how that bettered your game.
The one thing I would say about the Minnesota hockey camps, if you want to become a hockey player, I think that's a place where you can become one. And at least for me, it's not for the faint of heart. It's all day, every day. You go. You're on the ice twice. You're doing dry land, jumping around, running. You're lifting weights. It can definitely be somewhat of a grind even just to make it through the week. But at the end of the day, you really feel like you accomplished something, and and you get better by default almost. You're skating with. And for me, I was always lucky enough to be in that highest group and playing with the best players that came in from wherever they came from. And I really enjoyed my experience there, and I made some good friends there along the way. And it was a great experience for me. And even those younger kids that come in and they're watching those top group doing dry land, and oh wow, that's pretty cool. It's a great place. I'd recommend checking it out if you haven't, and I'm sure you've probably seen it, Reed. But
yeah, absolutely. It's
younger kids
that you get into that. It's just the effect that Gringo had on my brother and all the staff that worked there with Dino and everybody that was involved in that. And I know he and Stewie and Massieri are trying hard to keep that tradition going. And it's a little different. It's in a different place. It's not at Minnewawa Lodge anymore. They sold that property, but they've really done a good job working with Breezy Point Ice Center there and working with Breezy Point Resorts and bringing it and trying to keep that tradition going. It's the same name. It's the same programming. It's the same dry land stuff. They have the same weightlifting stuff that they're doing. I guess the atmosphere of being at the lodge was nice. You got to go swimming. You got to be part of the lake. That part of it's missing, but it's not for lack of passion for the game and love of the tradition that was started back in 1979 with Gringo and Herb Brooks. Started it way back then, and it's just awesome. And I've heard stories. I've never gotten to know you well enough, but my brother always used to talk about the days with you and some of the other guys that he got to work with there at Minnesota Hockey Camp. So I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw a couple pictures online. I'm obviously friends with Coach Larson or Craig on Facebook too, and saw the pictures. It looked like the same hurdles, the same big logs to jump over, and
got those.
So it looks like the culture and the same. They're trying to keep that tradition alive, and I hope they have a lot of success doing it. I know they didn't have to rebrand, but maybe a little bit different of a following now. But I'm sure Stewie's got some good connections throughout the hockey world, and just wish nothing but the best for them, and hope they're able to grow and continue to have success and creating some new, younger future stars.
I'm sure they'll appreciate your shout out there as well.
So let's go back to that 2013 team. Like I said, you make the run into the Frozen Four. Talk about that power play. I know I've talked to you about this personally, but that power play was incredible. And you've played a lot of hockey, up to this date. Have you ever been a part of a better power play than your senior year at St. Cloud?
I don't even remember who was on it, Raj.
Well, all you guys did was move the puck. Was Jensen on it? Well, Hannah was on it.
Yeah. We definitely had some good players, and it was probably more just taking what's given. I mean, we had that, like you said, Nick Jensen. He was kind of the quarterback guy. I would probably have been on one half wall. You had Nick Dowd, who's, carving out a good career for himself there in Washington. You had Ben probably was down low in net front. And yeah, I don't know who would have been roaming around in the middle there, but yeah, it was, it's, you get together with some good players and good things usually happen. And yeah, we had a good power play that year, and we've had a lot of success. We had a lot of success that year too. And I even forget, Johnny Brodzinski was a freshman, and Kalle Koslu, who was a freshman those years too, still playing. Actually was lucky enough to run into Kalle last year. He was in Munich for a bit before he came back to the AHL when they started up. So yeah, you forget, couldn't even, like I said, couldn't tell you who was on or what we did, but I remember scoring a few goals, and it's at the end of the day, it's those memories that stick with you more than anything else.
Well, Nick Jensen's carving out kind of a nice career for himself too down in Washington. Down is the only one.
You could say that. Yeah, true.
So speaking of scoring goals, so the season ends, and albeit you are crowned, the Hobie Baker winner. Must have been a huge moment for you, a huge moment obviously for your parents, your brothers. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it was definitely very surprising. I remember, every step along the way there, it starts at 10 and goes to 3 and then to 1 and whatnot. And my name kept just being thrown in the ring there. And sure enough, got to the 10, got to the 3. And, the night before, my dad's like, "What are you going to say tomorrow if you win?" I said, "I don't know. I don't think I'm going to win." It was just kind of fun to be a part of that experience. And like you said, luckily I was fortunate enough to win that. It really did wonders for me, jump-starting my career professionally. And it's one of those things you never take for granted. And, I don't know if you can see it, but it's sitting back there behind me. And
oh yeah.
So I always get, it's just kind of a reminder every day you walk by and just reflect on those good times. I mean, like I said, I was humbled and honored to win, and try to do my best at representing, what the award actually means, as far as character and things of that nature. Haven't been as fortunate as some of those other Hobie winners that are making NHL All-Star games, but it's still one of those things where you can throw your same name in the hat as them. And it's always fun to go back to the banquets during the summertime and what have you, and see the other guys that have won and see where they are and what they're doing. And it's kind of a unique circle to be in. I think there's 40 of us or 41 of us now. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's pretty cool, pretty special. And like I said, I never take it for granted.
Hey, I got you on the red carpet down at the ESPYs. Talk about your night in LA. You got any good stories?
Oh yeah. Well, we could talk for a long time about those. You'd have to ask Jake more. He he remembers every detail of that weekend, it seems like. But and that's funny too, because it was one of those things where it's like, why would I even go to this? And I'm kind of thinking about it. And they're like, oh, you can bring one guest. And of course, my wife was mad I didn't pick her. She's probably listening right now. But, at that time, I was like, well, we're going to a big athletic thing, and so I asked my cousin Jake to go, and he's like, sure, let's do it. Sounds fun. And we had a blast. It was awesome. I mean, it was a great experience. And just, I think we spent more time being like, oh, look at that. It's JJ Water. Oh, geez, it's Yasiel Puig, or, just all those big names. And honestly, I think the best, I'll give you one quick story, I guess. And so we were at the airport in Minneapolis, just sitting, waiting to go on the plane. And I saw this guy in a hat walk by. It was pulled down real low, trying to cover himself up. And I was like, Jake, it's Michael Phelps. He's like, no, it's not. I'm like, yeah, it's Michael Phelps. He's like, yeah, whatever. So we get on the plane. He got to board early. So we get on the plane and we're sitting. It was all inclusive, paid by ESPN there. So we were lucky enough to sit first class, which was a good experience. So we're just sitting there, and sure enough, he gets up to go to the bathroom, and Jake's like, well, we got to say hi to him. I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not? So he comes out of the bathroom and he traps him there, and, oh, hey, how you doing? Mike, Drew, nice to meet you, Jake, and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I had sprained my ankle at Minnesota hockey camps a few weeks before. So I was wearing compression socks and shorts. So I had my compression socks and shorts on. Had a pack of fruit snacks in my lap from my Auntie Julie there. She packed a little goodie bag for us. And, oh, hey, nice to meet you, Michael. And so he kind of took a liking to us there. And so we were getting off the plane. And he's like, hey, you guys want to just ride with me? We're like, sure. Yeah, of course. Not gonna turn you down. So we actually got to spend, traffic in LA is kind of crazy. So it was probably an hour and a half cab ride, probably by the time we got to the airport. And we were going to get into the car, and he scooted in and sat right in the middle of the three of us. And I was like, I'll just sit in front and give you some leg room. And on the way in, he's good buddies with Ray Lewis, and Ray Lewis calls him, and, oh yeah, we'll meet you when we get there, and blah, blah, blah. It was just a crazy experience. And, one of those things, like I said, never forget. That was pretty fun being down there with all those big names.
You think the guy might need a little bit of leg room? I mean,
how big is he? 6?
Probably needs some arm room too.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 6'5". He's a monster, right?
He was quite a bit taller than I was. I know that.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, so then let's go back. Okay, so you go to the ESPYs. Well, that was actually in the summer. So you go from Hobie Baker, you grab it into your arm, you throw it in your suitcase, you throw some clothes in, and it's right to Chicago, correct? To the Blackhawks?
Yep. I went there. I was there, I think, for 2 or 3 weeks at the end of the season. Was lucky enough to get a few games in. And
first game, weren't you on a line with Kaner? First shift, first game?
Well, yeah, Joel Quinville comes to me at the end of morning skate. He goes, you're playing tonight. I was like, all right, cool. He's just like, work hard, have fun, enjoy the moment, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and you're playing with Sharp and Kane. Oh,
okay.
So, I mean, I didn't make it super long on that line. I think we got scored on right away in the first period. And he did say, if you're matched up with this line, that might change things up. So I ended up playing a majority of the game with Victor Stahlberg and Brian Bickle. And then at the end for the third period, went back on a line with those two. And yeah, it was pretty easy playing with guys like that. They're in the right spot.
How long was your rookie lap around the rink there for your first game?
I don't even
when you step tradition in the NHL, when you play your first game, typically you got to step out on the ice for a little skate by yourself. How long does that last?
I honestly don't think I had to do that. If I did, I don't remember. But I don't think they maybe even go out and do a hot lap at all.
Well, you got lucky. Usually when they step into these,
I know, I see it on TV all,
you
and
get
actually
there
it's
and
funny you say
every
that
once in a
because-
while you get that quick
Yeah.
little lap
Yeah.
and everybody's going, what is this guy doing all by himself? And you got the rest of the team behind you going, how long are we going to let this guy skate by himself? And then the rest of the team comes. That's usually before warm-ups.
Yeah.
Yep, usually. I saw it on TV, you know, the first couple weeks before our college season was done, and whether someone ended their college season early or came in from major, junior, or whatever the case may be. So I was kind of aware of it. I wasn't volunteering to go first by any means, but I don't think they made me do a lap. I don't recall.
It's those
Coulda
fun
had-
things about playing in the NHL like that. You get that first year. I remember hearing stories from Matt Niskanen when he moved down to Dallas there right away. He drove this old beater car back in high school, and he drove that down to camp when he started down there. And they took that car and they turned it into flat black, painted it flat black with the big number 5 on the side of it, and just, I mean. Go buy yourself a new truck.
Yeah, pimp my ride.
just
Pimp my
just
ride.
go buy yourself a new truck. But they did their little rookie thing with him. They took care of painting his car into the team mascot.
And Niski's probably driving the one he bought still.
He probably has it someplace at his new place there in Virginia. He just built over there a couple of years ago and got his place on Vermilion. He's got a place in Virginia and happily retired.
So the next year then, you spend most of your year in Rockford, correct? I mean, did you meet some characters down there? What was Rockford like?
I think I spent all of it in Rockford, actually. I think I was the last guy sent down that season, right after training camp ended. And then I spent all of my year down in Rockford. And that was a little bit different. I think everyone's kind of like, okay, because we all want to get back to the same spot, right? So a little bit more cutthroat, I guess I would say, down in the A. Still, we did have a really good group of guys, and we had a good team. Actually, both my years there, and honestly, a lot of guys on that team that was there in success, having success in the NHL now, and it's kind of fun watching Phil Deneau here the last playoff run, just because I know Phil is that happy-go-lucky, just wide-eyed young kid, you know, just loving every minute of the game, and so it's kind of fun to watch him and see his success that he was having. But yeah, it's definitely a different type of atmosphere down there for sure. And you know, because you want to have team success and you want to have personal success, but you're almost sometimes maybe you don't want this guy to have too much success. You know, it's kind of one of those things. You know, it's really weird, and you know, it just never really panned out for me down there for whatever reason. And it was I was never able to get back to obviously where I wanted to be. And but yeah, I try to forget those Rockford years as much as possible. Those were some of the tougher ones there of pro hockey.
So then, yeah, like I said, so then it's Rockford, then it's on to Germany. And talk about that process. I mean, obviously, you know, you got an agent, or do you have to find a foreign agent, and you got this language barrier? Just how did that all come together where, hey, I'm gonna, and I can't remember, you were married at that time, right? You're already married.
Yeah, I think so. I don't, my wife and I have been together for like 17 years, so they all kind of blur together a little bit, but, I think we did get married that summer, the year before I went over. And I just remember, you know, my agent was Dean Grillo, who Reed's probably met or heard of. And, he was working hard trying to find me a job in North America and was getting a few sniffs here and there. And, he said, or there's this team in Germany, you know, that maybe something to think about too there. And, you know, I think too, once in the AHL, once it didn't, like I said, it didn't go super great for me. And, once you kind of get written off, it's kind of like, okay, now what, you know? And so I was like, oh, I really don't, this AHL thing, it's not really my cup of tea. And, I don't know. He said, well, there's this team in Germany and think about it. I said, all right, I'll think about it, and sat on it for a little bit. And, had a couple of good conversations with the coach then. That was Mike Stewart was his name. And thought, you know what, let's give it a try. why not? What do I have to lose? And honestly, it's been awesome. My family we've enjoyed every second over there, really. And we've been in the same spot. We haven't moved teams. We've liked it so much where we were and appreciated how we've been treated. And, and the organization that I'm in is professional from top to bottom. And if you need something, you get it right away. And that went a long way for us. So we've never left. We like it there. Both our daughters have been born there now. And yeah, nothing but good things to say about Augsburg, that's for sure.
Talk a little bit about that break you've told me about. Like every January, there's a break, and then you guys get to go scamper all through Europe.
Yeah, so the national team, the German national team, they play in a tournament I should rewind. The national team gets together for practices for a week in November, and then they play a tournament in February. So every year we get that. Every coach that I've had gave us that whole week off. So we get that whole week off in November and that whole week off in February. And so we were over there, we're like, well, geez, we might as well go do something. So we started by traveling a little bit, and this traveling thing's pretty sweet. So every break now we try to go somewhere else and see somewhere new, and, just try to get the most out of our experience of being over there. And, not often are you going to be able to hop on a flight from Munich to Barcelona for $100. So we take advantage of those. Try to find somewhere that's having a good deal on prices as far as flying somewhere and go. It's going to be a little tougher now. When we had the one girl there, we kind of lugged her everywhere with us, but with two, it could be a little bit more difficult, but I think we still got to try it. I know my mom and dad are coming over next year in February, and they want to go on vacation with us, and because next year we got a long break, Olympic break. So we'll try to get somewhere and go somewhere with them and see somewhere new.
It's pretty awesome. You get that opportunity to play the game that you love, enjoy some experiences over there in Europe, and enjoy it while you can. It's only so many years, obviously, you can play and enjoy being over there overseas and take in. Everybody thinks there's only one. Young kids think there's only one place they want to play. I want to play in the NHL. Everybody wants to play in the NHL. You get paid in the NHL.
Yeah.
But there's so many other places to play around the world. If somebody wants to play pro hockey and see the world, I've talked to players like you that have been in Germany. I've talked to people that have played in the SM Liga in Finland and then top leagues in Sweden. And these are some great hockey leagues that are out there that guys, if they're not, seeing what they want to see, American League or jump to the NHL. Obviously there's East Coast, but people are making the jump overseas before they get to the East Coast League because the experience is awesome.
Yeah. And I think in hockey in Europe keeps getting better and better. I know, just for example, our league in Germany there, when I first started 7 years ago, it was pretty good hockey, but now I would say there's been some young Germans that have kind of made the transition now coming to the NHL, and it's getting to be a better and better league every year. Either that or I'm just getting a little bit older and slower, but it certainly seems like every year the caliber player that coming into our league from North America has a really good resume and has usually played some NHL games and had success in the AHL. So I think the quality of hockey is getting better and better. And yeah, I know our league is a good league, and Jack Conley, another Duluth guy there, he's been in Sweden now for like 8 years or 9 years, and that's a really good league. And yeah, it's, you're not going over there because your career is over. You're just looking for another opportunity.
All right. Well, I just have one more question for you. Do you have anything else for him? So I talked to you about this before too, is you got the screw job on that 2018 Olympic team, in my opinion. So for those of you that don't know, the 2018 Olympic team was horrible. And whether you think you got screwed or not, my serious question is, do you think they should be looking more for players of your style that play on Olympic ice day in, day out, or in your case, year in, year out? Do you think it would be maybe a slight advantage to have that just a little bit? Because like I said, they were horrible in 2008. They couldn't get out of their own way. They brought G.O.A.T out of retirement. What were they doing that for?
Yeah, that was one of those things. I think USA Hockey that year just kind of threw in the towel, and they were like, "Well, we'll just put a team together." And I know, like, so we had some guys, Canadians on our team, Team Canada. They did 2 or 3 tournaments and brought in a bunch of guys from all the leagues, predominantly the KHL, and a couple from our league in Sweden, and guys that are playing and having success. And they gave everyone a look. And Team USA that year, they just said, "Oh well, this guy, and okay, we'll just take this guy or take that guy or bring over." You can't expect those college kids to come in and they did play pretty well, but and compete against grown men like that. Just people that have been professionals and doing it for a long time. I think, every year, the older you get, the more you mature, the more you learn. And when you're that young, you're still really green. And so that was kind of disappointing that year, because I felt that Team USA didn't really put their best foot forward as far as watching what the Team Canada was doing. As far as the Olympics go, the NHLers, they're the best players in the world. I would pick them, if I had the option. But
the Olympic ice, is there a factor there?
I think it's easier to go from the NHL sheet to the Olympic sheet than it is to go from the Olympic sheet to the NHL sheet. I think, when you're at the caliber that those NHL guys are at, and now you just give them that next split second, that time to make a play. I think that's pretty easy to be like, oh, this is a little nicer. I'm not getting hit as much. Oh, this is good. So, my personal opinion, do I wish they'd look at the European guys more? Yes, but I think if you got a chance to bring the NHL guys over, they're the best players in the world. Like I said, going from the small sheet to the big sheet, not nearly as hard to transition, just a little bit more skating. But that's just my 2 cents.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's
All right. Well, you've
good.
been so gracious with your time, Drew. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. This has been great. For all of those of you out there listening, feel free to comment. We got this study with us, whether it's his high school years, his NCAA years, his AHL, NHL years. Feel free to drop your favorite memories. If you agree with me that he got snubbed in the Olympics, please put that in there for sure. I'll give you a bunch of heart pumps and likes. That'll be great. As always, like, subscribe, hit those notification buttons so you get our videos and podcasts as they come out. For Reed Larson, I am Puka. Get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the Tea with Ms. McGill Show.